Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Wednesday. I got that right. I cannot tell you on the show I've gotten it right, but Monday I thought it was Tuesday. Yesterday I sent baby sibling a message that said Happy Wednesday. Oh my gosh. So today is Wednesday. All right, we are sure today is Wednesday. Good morning, Sammy. I'm sorry I'm late, guys. I do uh something. I do a card reveal for a group I belong to, and I thought I have enough time, and I did, but then all of a sudden when you break your routine, you're just kind of like, okay. So I almost said, welcome to coffee time with Shelly Marie. And then I wanted my coffee. So I took time to make it this morning. So I sure as hell was going to take time to drink it. But, anyways, let's get going. It is Self Care Wednesday. And I found some stuff. So I thought it was AI. But what AI did was it took a bunch of articles and just gathered it together. But I wanted unusual things for Self Care Wednesday. So I'm going to go through them over the next, I guess, couple of Self Care Wednesdays because I think there was like 25 of them. I wrote down six, but and they might repeat. Who knows? They might repeat. But I really liked these because I mean, we know about meditation. We know, if you're tense, get a massage. We know taking a long walk can help, or going for a jog, whatever, like getting out into nature, going for a hike. We know about those things, and I mean, if you really practice the self care and whatnot, or just, maybe sleeping in, or just, again, relaxing and just kind of getting all zen with yourself, right? Thanks, Muddy. Muddy likes my cup. So, and it also says good vibes. So I went, uh, good morning, baby sibling. Happy hump day. Hump day, hump day, hump day. So, before Sammy and baby sibling came on, I was talking about how I've been off a day. Yesterday I sent baby sibling a text message. It's, we text every morning pretty much to let each other know we're alive. And, wish each other a good day. But yesterday I was like, happy hump day. And, on the iPhone, you can make the letters all squiggly and stuff. And she's all, it's Tuesday. And I was like, shit, it is. She's on good job on the right day. I only have the right day because yesterday I was like, you got to remember tomorrow's Wednesday. But you can ask Sammy. Muddy told me yesterday, we both talked to that. I said today was self care Wednesday, or that tomorrow would be self care Wednesday, and I got that part right. But yeah, it's stuck in the craw there. So, anyways, again, Self Care Wednesday, I wanted to make it a little bit different. I wanted to say, hey, let's go do stuff other than meditating, massages, taking long walks on the beach, up a trail, up a mountain, going for a swim, all those things. And so I Googled this and I came up with this. Well, I didn't come up with this, but I wrote down my favorite ones. But now that I realized there were so many, I'm going to share them over the next couple of weeks on Self Care Wednesday. So the first one, indulge in your childhood favorites, your favorite foods, your favorite TV shows, your favorite movies. Since I've been here, my father's Fandango Voodoo collection is astronomical. I mean, the man has over 2,500 movies and shows. Okay, so we're currently working on Bones, which ended about 8 years ago, but when it had a good run, I think 2005 to 2017, I think. I don't know, something like that. But David Boreanaz is a busy guy. And by the way, for anybody who wonders if he's really tall in real life, he is. Sibling and I went to the All-Star game a billion years ago when the Kings were hosting. And sure enough, he was standing in the line right next to us. And I was just like, I didn't know what to do. And I didn't do anything. I wanted to play it cool because older sibling worked with celebrities, and she's just like, just play it cool. They're in their environment right now. They just want to be happy, and he loves hockey. So I just did the head nod. Oh, my favorite head nod, Sandra Bullock. That's right, at a Kings game. I know, right? I'm a Ducks fan, but you got to go to Kings games to find the people. So, anyways, indulge in your favorite stuff, right? So, like I was saying, and as Sammy and Muddy know, or Sammy and Muddy, as baby sibling and Muddy know, I tend to fire off in different directions. So, since I've been here, I've I've made my dad watch a lot of, well, not made him because we like the same movies, but it's like I visited a lot of my favorite childhood movies. So, there's still a few left that we haven't done yet, and I've been holding back on those, but and mostly because I keep forgetting. But yeah, I mean, we did the Goonies and all that, but just take a time, when you have that moment where you just want to provide yourself some self-care, eat the donut for dinner. Okay, I'm not trying to tell you to have bad habits. I'm not saying eat a donut for dinner every night, but I mean, if you have had a stressful day, I'm not saying feed your emotions, but just indulge yourself in something, things that you couldn't do as a kid. You can't have this or you can't have that, and it's like, don't go crazy, but just pick a candy bar off the shelf and say, you know what, I'm going to have this tonight, with a glass of wine or whatever. So just indulge in something that you like, even comic books, right? I mean, if you still own your comic books, then you are still in love with that. So see, baby sibling says, I love cereal for dinner on stressful days. Yeah, see? And it's simple. It's simple. I don't know why people think you can't have breakfast for dinner. I'm going to tell you right now, as much as I love the standard breakfast that you get when you go out to a restaurant, eating breakfast at night is just so much more satisfying. The pancakes taste better, the bacon tastes better, everything tastes better. I don't know, maybe it's because your taste buds are wide awake already. I don't know, and they're still waking up in the morning. I don't know why. That's just me. For other people, it may just be like, no, let's be traditional. You do not eat breakfast at night. Well, you are missing out. You are seriously missing out. So the next one, exfoliate your entire body. I know that sounds weird, and you're like, well, isn't that kind of like the massaging and no, exfoliate your whole body, okay? Because we don't think about that, right? We exfoliate our face, we exfoliate up here, but we don't exfoliate everything, okay? Exfoliate it all. Exfoliate it all. Why not? Why not? And if you wear dresses or shorts and everything all the time, exfoliate your legs. I mean, those bad boys are like your arms, right? They get all the sun. They get all the sun. So let's see. What does Sammy say? Oh my, I haven't had cereal for dinner in years. I do eat eggs a lot at night though. Well, there you go. That's like breakfast for dinner. But yeah, okay. Baby sibling says she's the same. I'm sorry. I need a reference because I talk faster than the comments come through. But anyways, sorry, exfoliate your entire body. So, get your back, get your nooks, your cranny. There you go. My new motto: exfoliate it all. Exactly, Samly. Exfoliate it all. All right. Don't just give care to your face. Give it to your body. Oh, for the breakfast, yeah. So baby siblings, like, yeah, yeah. See, that's how you know we're related. I mean, she's not my baby sibling. She's my baby cousin, but still, same thing. Let's see. Number 3, have a solo outing like a solo date. Treat yourself, right? So this one actually says have a solo outing, a paint date. All right. So you can go to one of those places that do, wine and painting, and, you might make new friends, or you might just have that solo moment. But, have a solo outing like a solo date. Treat yourself. One of my favorite dates I ever took myself on was, now this is so random, okay? So older sibling wasn't feeling well, and I thought, well, I still want to go out, and I'm famous for amongst my people for my midnight drives. Since Sissy Joe has passed, I have not had a proper midnight drive because they're just not the same without her. I mean, I've tried it with other people, and it's nothing against them. It's just, sometimes with Sissy Joe, we were just always on the same page. We didn't always talk, during the whole ride, we would chit chat and stuff, and then she'd go into her thinking mode, and I would just let her, and it was just kind of therapeutic, I think, for her. And for me, I just love to drive, and it was just fun. But I haven't done a proper one in a long time, but I still wanted to go out. So older sibling and I used to have tickets to both the Ducks and the Kings. And I know that's a lot of hockey. Yeah, and circumstances being what they were, we currently do not have either, and I'm still sad about that because I love hockey, but I love sports. But anyways, I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to go anyway. So I went and I sat there for 2 periods and I'm just, or a period and a half. And I'm just kind of like, I'm still feeling antsy, and I didn't feel guilty because the tickets are already paid for. And, I mean, they were either going to not be used because it was very last minute that she decided not to go. And so I'm like, nope, nope. I sat there for a period and I thought, you know what? I'm hungry. So I took myself to my favorite place, my favorite restaurant in the whole wide world, Michelli's or Michelli's. It's in the Valley. It's near Universal Studios. There's two of them. The original one is in Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard, I think. Anyways, you've seen it a lot. If you watch the show 911, the LA one, you've definitely seen Michelli's or Michelli's, whatever you want to call it. It's Michelli's, but hello. We simplify everything, right? I took myself on a date there and it was amazing. I sat, like usually when I'm with other people, they want to sit right on the show floor because the waiters sing. These are professional actors and singers and performers, and this is where they work when they're not on the road working or not in film. And so, and that's not why I go there. I go there because it's just, I love the place. I love the singing. The food is great. But I thought, you know what? Just put me wherever there's a table. And I got to sit on the top where I've always wanted to sit, but never get to sit. And I had my journal, I had a book. And the guy was so nice because he could see I was just kind of in Zen mode. But it was such a wonderful feeling. I mean, I used to be embarrassed to go out by myself. I used to see other people thinking, wow, they're really cool that they can do that. Then one of my really good friends, one of my close friends, Sanja, was like, oh yeah, I mean, she used to work, she's retired now, but she used to work the graveyard shift for the post office. So a lot of times when she was awake and ready to do stuff, everyone's either at work or at work because she's not. So, a lot of times she would just go do her own thing, and I'm pretty sure she still does her own thing. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to try that. So I tried it at a fast food place, felt a little awkward at first, but then I was like, you know what, I really kind of like this because you see more. You notice people around. I mean, we'll all go to a Starbucks or a coffee shop, right? And we'll sit there and think nothing of it. But we won't go to a restaurant. We won't go eat something by ourselves. And for what? For what reason? I mean, you're willing to sit in a Starbucks or any coffee shop and just, people watch. Maybe you're on your phone a little bit, maybe you're playing games, but you can do the same thing in a restaurant. You can feed yourself while you free yourself. I'm full of them today. So, anyways, have a solo outing with yourself. I promise you, you will not regret it. It might feel awkward the first time, but the second time you'll know exactly what you want to do. And you don't have to worry about, having to make decisions for everyone. You're personally making these decisions for yourself. It's almost like indulging in your childhood things. Maybe you had a favorite restaurant when you were a kid and you didn't get to go to it as much as you would like to. I mean, baby sibling and Muddy live in the land of Waffle House. Okay, we don't have them out here in California. And it just makes me sad because the one near baby sibling is so off the beaten path, like legit. So we never go there. And it just, and then when I drive in with my dad, because we're coming from a different direction, he never wants to stop there because it's like, no, let's just get where we're going. So, when I come in on my own from LA, there's not really any on that path. So Cracker Barrel used to be fun, but we have one of those now. So it's kind of lost its zhuzh because because we have one. So, but I mean, things like that. So, I mean, next time I go, I'm just going to take myself. It's like, you know what? Bye. I'm out. I'm going to go have a meal by myself because nobody else wants to go with me. So, see, I know. Sammy says there's a Waffle House on every corner here. So, you know what? I know this is Self Care Wednesday, but you guys want a Waffle House story? Let me know in the next 5 seconds in the comments if you want a Waffle House story, because I got a good one. Well, it may not be good for you, but it is definitely when you take the Californian and put them in the South, how magical and oddly mysterious and just plain stupid it can be. But I have a really good Waffle House story. So, anyways, again, have a solo outing, like a solo date, and treat yourself. Okay. Oh, baby sibling said yes. So everybody watching later, you're gonna get the Waffle House story. So 1 billion years ago, I was dying to go to Disney World, and my sisters indulged me. So, oh, Sammy too. So my sisters indulged me. Now, I'd never seen a Waffle House in my life. I mean, I'd seen them going to Tucson, but I've never, we never stopped, right? It was kind of like, yeah, it's just, another one of those local places. And we were always meeting family and whatnot, so we never stopped. But when we went to Florida, um, we had a red eye, and so we went down to Titusville and decided to do the oh my god, the I cannot Kennedy Space Center. I don't know why I couldn't think of that, right? Cape Canaveral. So, anyways, that's where we went. But on our way there, we're all like, I'm super hungry. I am like super hungry. So we're like, Sissy Joe, she was born in Thailand, lived a bunch of different places because her father was a pilot, also half Thai though, but she grew up basically in Georgia. So as Sammy said, there's one on every corner there. So she's, oh, let's just go to Waffle House. And it's like, the hell is Waffle House? But it's like, you said waffle, it said house, I'm in. So we go there. Now, older sibling, if you've ever watched the show before, you will have heard the tea story. Okay, older sibling, I learned how to drink tea without sugar because older sibling needs an entire cane field in order to drink hers. And, as a people pleaser, which is not good, so we're going to tie this into self care, okay? I could have taken half, given her half, and waited for more sugar. But one of the places we went to, it's like, I don't know, had molasses on their feet, okay? And so, she takes all the sugar. So we go there, and she's like, hey girls, what can I get you? Blah, blah, blah. And the cutest Southern accent and everything. And Sissy Joe is like, I'd like a sweet tea. And she knew, just like that. At this point, I had learned how to drink my tea without sugar, so it's like, no, I'll have a coffee. And older siblings like, I'll just have a regular tea because on the table was one of those, salt or not salt, one of those sugar pourers, with all the sugar in it, you can just pour. And so, and Sissy Joe was like, well, I know how you like your tea. Why don't you just try a sweet tea? And she's like, no, I'm just gonna, because we're from California, okay? I mean, we're as smart as anybody else in this country, but sometimes we're just dense when it comes to other people's traditions. And so, anyways, she brings back the tea, and Sissy's drinking hers, and she's just having a great old time. I'm drinking my coffee, and older sibling starts pouring the sugar into her tea. And Sissy Joe and I both just stopped because we're both on the same side of the table. And I, we've both known Sissy long enough that we know she loves sweet tea because at Chick-fil-A, which was kind of new here at the time, you can get it there. But older sibling had been, you know, she had been denying herself this sweet tea. So she keeps pouring and pouring and pouring. And I'm just kind of looking because I realize, having very good peripheral, out of the corner of my eye, the cook has stopped, two waitresses have stopped, and somebody else behind the corner have stopped, and they're just watching her. I shit you not. They are just looking at her like, definitely not from here. And Sissy's just like this, kind of, because she sees him now too. And I'm all like, hello? Yeah, Sammy says sweet tea is the table wine of the South. My friend from Houston has said that too. My friend David. So anyway, she's just pouring, and Sissy Joe is like, Laura, why don't you just get a sweet tea? And she's sis. I love Sissy Joe, but she can get embarrassed really easily, just like I can. But I was already kind of working on myself at that point. Anyways, the waitress comes back and she says, honey, would you like a sweet tea? Because at this point, if anybody has ever put sugar in a tea, you're stirring and stirring and stirring and stirring forever. I mean, that shit just does not melt. Okay. And so, I mean, or if you've had cereal with sugar on it, I mean, come on. As a kid, I don't think I ever tasted Cheerios, in the wild until I was an adult. It always had the sugar. And so finally, Laura caved. An older sibling says to her, "Yeah, okay." And I mean, the people behind the counter, the cook, they're just kind of with, and they're kind of giggling and they're laughing. And at this point, I'm just laughing because I'm sitting here like, I'm kind of the dick at the table sometimes. It has to point out the obvious, and I'm working on that. I really am, but I really think that part of that is just being a Capricorn, just kind of paint the obvious for everyone. But she comes back, and older sibling is like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And it's like it literally would have taken, if she could have had those 10 minutes back that she was trying to make her tea by just listening to Sissy Joe. And I mean, I was just, if I could explain to you the looks on the people's faces, because it wasn't just the people behind the counter that worked there, it was the other people in the restaurant too, just kind of looking at her like, these people are definitely not from, here. And Sissy Joe is one of these people that she will sound Californian, but the minute you introduce a Southern accent, bam, she's right back into Georgia. Right back into Georgia. So she grew up, okay, Sammy will know what this is. She grew up in Bremen, which I'm assuming is an Atlanta suburb. I don't know, but she grew up in Bremen. But, I mean, the accent is strong. It is strong. You could always tell when she was talking to her Aunt Betty because, bam, she would have that drawl for a while. In fact, she pretty much had that drawl the entire time we were in Florida. Whenever, because there was, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people in the South there because that's the Disneyland for that side of the country and for the South. So, I mean, it may not be that funny to everybody else, but I still see all these people's faces. I'm just sitting here like, really? Really? Why don't you just conform a little bit to the South? But older sibling, as everybody knows, I'm sure Sammy knows, baby sibling definitely knows, she is the rebel. She is the rebel of the group. So that's my dumb story. Thank you for sitting through it. Again, if you could have just imagined their faces, I'm sure all of us have had these kind of stories with our people. But I'll tell you, she tasted the wine of the sweet tea. She tasted the table wine of the South, and she has not looked back. She has not looked back. We will go to Cane's, which is relatively new to California, and she will order a jug of sweet tea. And she will work on that baby herself because she knows that this girl doesn't like it. It's too sweet. This is what I mean. I used to love my tea sweet, but as I said, she uses all the sugar. So, and she's like, now you can use the sugar, and it's like, I don't like tea like that. I can't drink tea with sugar in it. It has to be plain as plain. So anyway, okay, number 5. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm sure that was boring to all of you, but no, let's keep going. Number 5, visit a museum. Visit a museum. Oh, baby sibling loves their sweet tea at Cane's. I will say this, okay? Older sibling had me taste it just because she's all, you sure you don't want to try it? Just try it, And you know how older sisters can be, right? Or older siblings. They're just kind of like, yeah, come on. And so you do it. And if I was still into sugar in my tea, oh my God, I'd be addicted. I'm pretty sure my cardiologist would also kill me. I have spent a lot of time self-caring at Starbucks since I've been in San Diego. And it's just the cold brews, but with the chocolate cream cold brew at Starbucks. But here's the thing, because it's just the regular coffee, it comes in a Trenta size, which is 30 ounces. Every time I go there, and I go there at least 2 or 3 times a week, my cardiologist is going to literally have my hide because I'm not supposed to be drinking caffeine. I can have it from time to time, but not at that level. So, anyways, I'm rebelling. So, yeah, visit a museum. Who doesn't love a good museum? San Diego has a wonderful area, Balboa Park, and Balboa Park has museums coming out of your eyeballs. Okay, a lot of people don't. I'm sorry, I'm reading Sammy saying. Sweet tea in the South is sweet in capital letters. God, no kidding. I'm telling you, it really is. I mean, it is sweet in capital letters. You, they always say this. I had the strongest coffee. It put hair on my chest, and this shit will put hair on your chest. Okay, and it will definitely amp you up for about a day. I mean, but you got to give it to the South. When they do it right. So, yay for sweet tea. But yeah, you know what? I'm going to give you a side story, okay, to that story. I don't understand why we had such a hard time finding corn on the cob in Florida. If somebody can please explain that to me, one day, I will tell you guys the corn on the cob story with older sibling and Sissy Joe. Okay, um, it is one of my favorite stories. It is one of the funniest stories I have. As sisters, we had a lot of adventures together. We did a lot together. We traveled together, and I mean, I would say that for the time that Sissy Joe spent at her house, she probably lived at our house equally. And because sometimes we could just be, we all loved hockey. I got her into hockey, but yeah, so remind me one day, guys, and I will tell you that story, the corn story. I've already wasted your time telling you the sweet tea story, but anyways, visiting museum. And again, like I said, in Balboa Park, one of the beauty and well, San Diego is a beautiful city, and I'm not saying that because it's my hometown. Um, but in a way, I am saying that because it's my hometown. I was born in Hawaii, but I was raised out here. So I really identify more as a Californian than a Hawaiian, even though baby sibling and I do have native Hawaiian blood. We are bloodline, but I mean, this is my home. I live up just up north now, but I grew up here. And so I find that Balboa Park is one of the jewels of San Diego that really kind of goes unnoticed by a lot of people. People, they go to SeaWorld, they go to the world famous zoo, which is actually in Balboa, near Balboa Park. But they don't venture outside of the zoo because, GPS doesn't tell you about everything else around there. They're nearby, not totally nearby, but nearby is a pretty old suspension bridge that baby sibling has found. I want to take credit for that one because I posted that one day and this poor girl asked me where that is. Okay, can you hear me now, Sammy? I had a funny feeling that that mic was going to die, and it did. Oh, bastard. But, anyways, can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So, baby sibling, okay, good. I'm sorry. I meant to put on both mics, and I totally forgot. So, baby sibling, where was the lazy eye that you went to? Was it the one in North Park, or is there one in Mission Beach? Because I know that's usually where they stay when they come out here. But anyways, I've been to the Lazy Eye in North Park. Oh, such a great place, and you can bring your dogs. And if you don't have a dog, you can go love on people's dogs because people are like, "Hey, yeah, can I pet your dog?" Yeah. So I've been to the Lazy Eye in North Park. She's been to the one in Mission Beach, so I'll have to try that one too. There's also the living room. That's more in the college area. I remember going there when I lived in the college area, like, in my past life, 1,000 years ago, which would be about 32 years ago. But apparently they're a chain now. There's one in La Jolla that baby sibling wants to go to that she's been eyeballing, and there's one just down the street in my dad's house from my dad's house in Rancho San Diego. So, but I remember the OG one. That was one of my favorites. But anyways, Balboa. And the thing is, if you're not into museums, the park itself is just beautiful. I walk up one side, I come down the other. At the end of one end is this beautiful fountain. You can cross over the bridge, which goes over the freeway, and it's not an ancient bridge, but for San Diego history, it's a pretty damn old bridge. But the buildings were built for some kind of World Expo over 100 years ago, and they realized that the buildings added some zhuzh to the area, so they retrofitted them and they kind of rebuilt parts of them to the same architectural design that they originally were intended for and made them permanent buildings. There's a natural history museum, the space museum, or not the space, the space and aerospace museum. I don't know. You'd think I'd know this stuff. There's a lot. The Old Globe Theater is there, and it is actually built. A lot of famous actors have run through there, just like the Old Globe Theater in England. And I'm not really sure exactly where it is in England, but the Old Globe is based on the Old Globe over there, the kind of like sister city kind of theaters, and it is built in that tradition, in that style. But it's just, you can just have a nice walk. A lot of people walk their dogs and their kids there, walk their kids, and there's cafes and stuff, but and there's also an atrium that just recently opened. And a lot of this stuff, some of the museums you have to pay for. Okay. If you live in San Diego, I think the last Tuesday of the month is free, but get there early because parking is a bear. But yeah, they have a Japanese garden, which I'm still dying to go to and I still need to go to. I missed the cherry blossoms, which I'm super bummed about because that's on my bucket list. But it's a beautiful walk and it's a beautiful area, and there's seats and tables and chairs and benches and everything. You can just really kind of do your self-care right there. You can just find a place, sit down, and just plunk yourself down and poof. All right, so the next one, take a break from social media. Take a break from social media. There is one specific social media where I have two accounts, and one of them is my super old one back when Twitter started in 2009. Oh, well, I guess I just told you which one it is. But in recent months and year, it's gotten pretty vile, and the vitriol is just awful. And so I had started about 8 years ago, or 7 years ago, a mental health account. And I'm primarily on that one now, but I actually had to take a break from that one because I would doom scroll through my original account. And then I was like, well, I don't want to give up my original account because, it shows I've been a member since February 2009, like 16 years. I've been there from the beginning. And it's like, now I just don't care. Status means nothing because my mental health does. My mental health does. So I did take a break from there. And, I have a lot of good friends on Twitter, which is why I don't get rid of it. And on my mental health side. And so that's how I keep in touch with them. One's in England, one's in Canada. Those are my two favorites that they're the ones we share pictures with. So, take a break from social media if you need to. Just turn it off. Don't doom scroll. It's not worth it. It's not worth it because it's either a bot trying to, piss you off, or it's just, trolls who got nothing better to do but just wreak havoc. And because they're probably needing a lot of self-care and a lot of shadow work that they're not into. But like places like Instagram and all those, and TikTok, what I like about those though is a lot of them, people give influencers a hard time, but you got people on there who are very helpful with people who want to get healthy or who want to eat healthy or who want to just exercise. And they're very patient and they're very loving. I saw a story the other day where a girl, she's a plus size girl, but she's been out there and she's been working out like crazy. And this one guy, she's all, yeah, he was pretty buff and he was coming over to me and he was looking right at me. And she's all, I get a lot of mean comments when I'm there. I get a lot of people that just point and giggle. They're like, what are you doing here? And she's on. So when he was coming over to me, I was so afraid of what he was going to say. So I just kind of prepared myself. And she said, he came up to me and said, I see you here all the time. And I just wanted to tell you, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. And she had to, she was leaving and she was in her car and she was in tears because somebody had been so kind to her, and I'm glad she shared that story because, people, one of the reasons I hate going to the gym is for that reason. You're going there because, you want to work out, you want to do this, you want to do that. And it's like, I don't want to, that's the one place I don't like going alone, because I've had people stare. I've had people make comments. I've had people be mean, and it's not worth it. If for me, it wasn't worth it. But there are good people out there, and those people sharing their stories remind us of that. So, it just do what you need to do. So, but, take a break if you have to. If you find yourself just spiraling, it's time to cut it off. All right. So Sammy says, I rarely scroll on socials anymore. It was affecting my mental health for sure. So Victor does. Oh, and Marie says Victor does that for people. He always is encouraging them at the gym. He really is. I remember I went out with. I was hanging out a couple Thanksgivings ago with Victor, baby sibling, and the boys, and they were all. I can't think paddleboarding. They were all paddleboarding, and I was just sitting on the sand, plop myself down on the sand, and this was before I lost a lot of my weight. And Victor gave me his hand to pull me up, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to hurt you. And he just gave me this look like, if you say that again, I'm going to drop you on your ass. And he told me, he's all, don't say things like that about yourself. And so, this is the guy you want in a dark alley standing behind you when someone tries to go, that you just want walking up behind you, and then they run off and you think you've done something smart and special, and you turn around, it's like, poof, there they are. So, you know, um, yeah, and Sammy says it's criminal that the people who want or need to go to the gym get shamed. Makes me so angry. Thank you, Victor, for being encouraging. Oh, see, baby sibling, you have to tell him. You have to tell him. But yeah, he really is so encouraging. And here's the difference between Victor and other people I've known. Baby sibling will know. Um, One person said you got to die a human to become a beast, and I get that, and it was motivating in its own way. But on the Instagram pages, it food shamed. It food shamed, and I admit I am an emotional eater. But Victor, he inspires me to want to work out, and so does baby sibling. Baby sibling. We're talking about Victor, but baby sibling, this girl and my nephew, damn, damn. It's like this is a family of people that you want on your side when you know you just step back and let them handle it. So anyway, but yeah, no, seriously, this family has some serious guns going on. So, but yeah, Victor has been very very encouraging, and I appreciate it coming from where I'm coming from. And it's just because it's like, just do what you can do. Just do what you can do. And that's kind of the motto that was given to me from him. Just do what you can do. Don't worry about what other people think. And I love that. I love that. So the very last one for self-care Wednesday. I know this has gone on long, but you know what? I've enjoyed this. I really have. And if any of you watch this later, I do hope you enjoy it, because the banter can be so much fun on the lives. And maybe it'll encourage you to come onto a live and just interact with all of us, because we can be fun. We can be fun. And I have a stupid story for everything. I really do. I mean, they're not stupid to me, but I have a dumb story for everything. Well, they're not dumb to me either, but I have a funny story for everything. There we go. So the last one, this one's my favorite. I saved this one because this one will help your mental health. It will, well, I don't know if it'll really do that. Okay. I'm just throwing shit out there right now. So it may or may not do these things for you, but it will definitely uh, strengthen your resolve. It will help your mental health. It will let you have a fun time. And I will tell you, it will teach you safety, and it'll teach you patience. And that is axe throwing. Go axe throwing. Now, if you're saying, how will that teach you patience? Because you know what? Generally, when you go axe throwing, there is a bar nearby. Okay. You don't want to hurt anybody. And you tend to, like, they'll show you how to do it. You'll pull back, or my cousins, because they're so tiny, they just lift it over their head and throw it. I mean, they're like those people in the movies that, just like, you know, but, um, but yeah, uh, you have to be patient, because you have to look around to make sure you don't hurt anybody. I mean, they do have cages, basically. They're like lined cages, like fence lined cages, so that you don't throw it out or hurt anyone. But I'm telling you, Another thing that can really help your mental health. I haven't played golf in a month of Sundays, but I am still curious if I can hit the ball. But I used to love to go to the driving range and just hit the ball. Just hit the ball because you're whacking something, right? You're just like, and even if you're in a Zen mode, for some people it's a bit, meditative for them. But axe throwing, I wouldn't say go if you're angry because that can get dangerous because you can't hurt yourself. You can really hurt yourself. And you know, um, I don't mean with the axe itself. Throwing it, it takes, I don't know what it takes to make that damn thing stick on the board. My cousins, who I said they're smaller, they're just under 5 feet tall. They're like hobbits. Um, I don't know what they were doing, but boy, when they throw the damn thing, it'd stick to the wall. I would throw it, it would just fall off. So the harder you try it, the more your arm is going to hurt. And you don't want to hurt your arm, okay? You don't want to tear your rotator cuff axe throwing. But it can be fun. You get to throw a sharp object at a wall, okay? And you can imagine anything you want. But it was kind of freeing and it was very liberating. And it felt a little rebellious because you are throwing something sharp at a wall. But then after a while, it just becomes fun because you stop worrying about whatever might be on your mind. You stop worrying about who's watching. You stop worrying about all this other stuff. And all you want to do is hit that bullseye or get as close as you can. Or for me, make it stick to the wall. When I finally got it to stick to the wall, I was about 3 inches from the bullseye, but I was more impressed by the fact that the damn thing didn't fall off the wall. So mine just kept hitting it. And the guy even tried to show me. He's like, no, this is why. And I guess I wasn't letting it go or whatever it was. I don't remember. But I stopped worrying about that. And for me, in a weird way, it kind of helped my mental health because I realized, not everything we do is going to stick. Not everything we do is going to stick. But as long as we have fun doing it, who cares? Who cares? I had a great time. I had a great time that day with my cousins. It was about 4 of us. We were just out. And my Hanai cousins. And so, it was like Jeannie, Stacy, Leah. We just went out, had a couple of drinks, thought, hey, let's go axe throwing. Okay. And it was a good time. But the reason I giggled so much when I said that is because it's like, wow, that's on a self-care list. I love that. So, believe it or not, if you get like ESPN gazillion, like literally, there is an ESPN out there where if you ever saw the movie Dodgeball, they had what was it, ESPN the Ocho, right? It was like 8, ESPN 8, and it was a joke because there is an ESPN channel out there. There is cornhole championships, there is knife throwing championships, there are axe throwing championships, and I magically found this when sibling and I took our annual trip to Colorado, and I was waiting for her. And she comes out and she's like, what are you watching? And I'm like, well, I started with knife throwing and now I'm on cornhole championships. And it's just mesmerizing. You just get sucked right in, but it's fun. And what I love is that, we giggle and we laugh and we kind of make fun of all this, but at the same time, these people are having a good time. They're taking their hobby to a new level. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's great. I mean, honestly, the amount of precision some of these people have is just, it's scary. I would not want to be on the bad end of their mood. So anyways, let's start from the beginning. We had indulge your childhood favorites, food, TVs, comics, games. I forgot about games. Exfoliate your entire body. And as Sammy would say, exfoliate it all. Exfoliate it all. Have a solo outing. Take yourself on a solo date. Okay, don't be ashamed. Don't be worried. You are not the only person that has ever eaten by yourself. Visit a museum. You can learn stuff. I love art museums too. Oh yeah, when I was in England, guys, I saw the original Van Gogh that he painted after he lopped off his ear. I know. I was like, wow. I love Monet, and I have another story one day about the very first Monet I ever saw. It literally brought tears to my eyes because it was my favorite one, but I'll share that on a different day because I've already taken up a lot of your time. Take a break from social media and go axe throwing. All right, go axe throwing. So, baby sibling, love you, love you, love you. Thank you for coming on. Happy hump day. Yes, I finally got the day right. I should text her now and just go, Happy Tuesday. But, and Muddy, as always, thank you for coming on. I have no idea what we're going to talk about tomorrow, guys. Like I said, I have a lot of subjects now that I want to bring some light to that we either find embarrassing or whatever. I had a thought last night in my sleep and I had to journal it down, but I think that one will be its own show on a different day. So yeah, right. Sammy says seeing the original Van Gogh, and I didn't even know about this museum because it was kind of hidden, like it was like hidden in plain sight. But it's like when I was crossing the street, I'd crossed the street like a gazillion times and had no idea it was near Covent Garden. I had no idea that it was there. And then this one girl that I met through another friend of mine, you know, that I follow on Twitter, she's like, hey, go to this place. And so I was like, okay, yeah, and I went in there and I was just like, whoa. They had pencil renderings, I believe, of Dante's Inferno. For the life of me, guys, I can't remember who the artist was, but it was pretty famous too. Um, but yeah, I was floored when I came around the corner and I saw the Van Gogh. I was like, oh my god. Now, if any of you watch Doctor Who, one of my favorite episodes is the one with Van Gogh. They say Van Gogh, but you know, um, I've heard most people say Van Gogh. So, since he was Dutch. But yeah, they say Van Gogh. And it's fine. I mean, I don't care. I'm not here to judge. But it does catch you it upends you for a second. But that is one of my favorite Doctor Who episodes. Not my favorite doctor. I mean, I like all the doctors, but that was one of my favorites because it's just, you know, it was like somebody thought, here's a man who's tortured by oh, Sammy, yours too. I love that episode. If there's one episode I can watch over and over and over again, is that one. But let's bring it into Self Care Wednesday, and let's bring it into mental health, because here is a man who was so tortured by so many things, who basically died penniless. His paintings weren't famous until after he died, and that could be where we get this whole thing that, oh, their paintings become so much more valuable after they're dead. People couldn't see what he saw in these paintings until after he died. And there's a lot of different theories on how he died, whether he took his own life or whether he was killed, or there, whatever it is. The whole point is, if you've cut off your ear, you are probably struggling with your mental health. And I don't really think there was any mystery with the fact that he did. But in this episode of Doctor Who with Tony Curran, he's a great actor. He's a great actor, and a ginger. But yeah, he portrays Van Gogh so almost like you would really, really think Van Gogh felt. And I'm not going to spoil the end because the end was amazing, and Bill Nye's in it. And but it was, if you don't, even if you don't like Doctor Who, I would recommend this episode. I'll figure out which one it is and I'll put it in the comments, because it was, to say the least, this is why I think every planet needs a doctor, like a Doctor Who doctor. But this episode, you can understand why Sammy and I love it, because it not for me, it was really a mental health aspect, but it was just so beautifully done. It was such a beautiful episode. So yeah, I'll put it in the comments. And like I said, if you've never seen the doctor, and or whatever, it was, yeah, see, right, Bill Nye, he's just amazing, and he's not in it very long. He's in the beginning and the end, but it was just, the guy just adds, right? The guy just adds to everything he's in. I loved him in Love Actually, but anyway. So anyways, I've kept you long enough. Thank you, my loves, for coming on. I appreciate it so much. I'm telling you, Sammy keeps coming on. I'm just going to make her my co-host, my commentary co-host. So anyways, but thank you both for coming on. Thank you for everybody that managed to make it this far, if you're watching it later. Lots of stuff today, lots of stuff, but you know what, this is also what self-care is about. It's just setting yourself free, letting yourself go, just being in the moment and appreciating and enjoying the moment. And yeah, Sammy, she's in love with Bill Nye. I mean, how can you not love the guy? I mean, he's funny. He's a great actor. He's played parts where you just want to, and it just there's so many. England is so rich with talent. I mean, every country really is, but I mean, funny enough, we get a lot of our TV shows from their ideas. So yeah, we get a lot of our TV shows from their ideas. uh but I guess that goes both ways in a way. So yeah, see, self-care is giggling with friends, which we did. And I know, sorry, I didn't mean to repeat myself like a broken record. But yeah, we did. And that's exactly what self care is. It helps your mental health to laugh with people, to enjoy, to just sit, to encourage one another, to just be with one another. So I am grateful. Baby sibling works at home on Wednesdays, so I'm glad that she was able to pop on as well. So I love you guys. I love all of you out in the Shellyverse. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow. I always want to say 8:30 a.m., but every time I say 8:30 a.m., I end up on at 8:35. So I'll be here tomorrow somewhere around 8:30. All right. You can find me on Facebook, Shelly Marie Lucas. All my lives are public. And of course, as you know, you can find me on pretty much every social media platform. That's the standard. All right. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. And to my girls, have a great day.